In the NFL, it's not just about how you start, but it's about how you finish. These Baltimore Ravens, these 2022 Ravens, they started off this year very, very rocky. And I mean, even right now, you can still say that they're pretty rocky. But the fact of the matter is that at this point of the season, with 2 weeks still left, 2 games still left to play, the Ravens are in the playoffs. Regardless of how rocky they've looked, regardless of how shaky they've been, they are in the playoffs right now. And that's a beautiful thing. But now, come postseason time, we ain't at the postseason yet. But once they get to the postseason, now, because they've gotten through this hard part of the regular season, but now it's just going to get that much harder. It's going to get that much more tough for these Baltimore Ravens to continue their season week by week. Because in the playoffs, it ain't no looking back. It ain't no, you know what? We messed this up and we lost this week. We'll come back better. We'll get them back better next week, buddy. No, that's it. That's it. But how can you do that? How can the Ravens improve? Well, a lot of the ways that the Ravens can improve, a lot of people would obviously focus on the offensive side of the ball. And there are some people that think that the Ravens could actually be holding back right now. That the Ravens could be locking some plays up, keeping them in the vault, and waiting to bring them out come playoff time. And we're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. But first, I got to give a special shout out to all the newest Team Keep It Clean patrons. Appreciate y'all. So, the newest Team Keep It Clean patrons. My guy, Lando the producer. My guy, Lando, he has been watching the videos for years. Because I remember his name in the comment section from years ago. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for continuing to have patience with this process that it's been. Because it's definitely been a process. It's still an ongoing process. As we try to make the videos better than they have been. But I appreciate you. I appreciate you being with us for a lot of the steps of the way. So thank you for that, man. Also, special shout out to Gavin. My guy Gavin hit me up on Instagram. Appreciate you very much for being a patron. My guy John, my guy Lufrey, and my guy Wayne. So we up in here, baby. This is the Team Keep It Clean patrons. And real quick, questions from subscribers. Y'all know that's where y'all can ask any question, whether be about the Ravens or whatever. But for the patrons, you send your questions directly on Patreon. You don't need to send an email. You just send it directly on Patreon. Simple as that. Anybody else that wants to participate in it, you can send your questions to teamkeepitclean@gmail.com. Don't send it anywhere else, because if you send it anywhere else, it will not be answered. Anywhere else. That's it. Teamkeepitclean@gmail.com. That's it. But anyway, let's get into a question from a patron, Armand. You see the little wordplay right there? I need to get in the battle rap. Anyway, my guy Armand said, a question for subs, trust. This season is shaping out to be a perfect mix of 2020 and 2021. We got Lamar out just like last year. We're fighting for the division with the low ground just like 2020. Now, in 2020, we made the playoffs. Our roster at the time in 2020 was very similar to our current roster, but a little bit worse. That defense and O-line wasn't nearly as good and stacked as it is today. Now, that said, in 2020, we made it all the way to the divisional round with that roster. I'm confident that this year we can make it to the AFC Championship or even to the Super Bowl. But there is one huge limitation. let me just give y'all a couple of seconds to try to guess what he's getting ready to say the Ravens' huge limitation is right now that could hinder them from reaching their full capacity, their full maximum potential. I'm going to give you 2 seconds. All right, time is up. Let's keep it going. He said, but there's one huge limitation, Greg Roman's play calling. We know he's basically wired to only be good at the run game, whether it's J.K., Gus, or Lamar running it. Don't forget Tyler Huntley. Those plays are going to pick up at least 5 yards at a time generally. Now, you take into account a better offensive line and a better defense to keep the scores lower. Just think about this. In 2020 against the Bills, they scored just 17 points to win. Replay that game, but insert this defense and offense, a much different outcome. Now, I get that every game is different and it's hard to compare like that, but I have faith in this team. We've heard Lamar, Greg, and Harp say this multiple times. We will hit our peak at the right time. yeah, we've heard that. We still waiting on it though. But anyway, he continued. He said, I seriously think, this is the part right here. I seriously think Giro has been limiting himself intentionally in regards to his play calling. He doesn't want to give away schemes or concepts that they made this offseason. Remember all the likely and Prochet chatter in August? There's a reason for all of it. I'd be very surprised if I'm wrong, but expect us to make a deep run this year with the help of Lamar and our defense. with the help of Lamar and our offense and the grit of our defense. Peace out, brother. Much love. Appreciate you, Armand. Thank you, man. So this is a tricky one right here. Could they be saving plays for the playoffs? Offensive plays. You know what's funny? I was just talking to my guy JT a couple days ago, and he was thinking the same thing. He thinks that the Ravens may be saving some stuff. They may be holding back a little bit too. So you got some people that would agree with you, but my kickback would be why? Why? And not even just why, but what does history say about these Baltimore Ravens? What does it say? Now, my guy JT, he brought up a good point. He talked about how, like, in the playoffs, you just saw a different type of Hollywood. You saw him just did different plays called for him, different involvement for him. It was just crazy how he would always flip on that switch come playoff time. Like Hollywood, regular season is straight, but then playoff time, he went into a whole different mode. So that's what he was thinking. But then I'm thinking, like, hold up. I remember back in 2019. Where a lot of people thought the same exact thing. They were like, oh, yeah, Ravens, they saving stuff for the playoffs. They saving all these plays for the playoffs. They saving it. And what happened? And what was crazy is because in 2019, some of the same stuff happened this year. A little bit earlier, not recently, but some of the same stuff happened this year. Because in 2019, as the season went along, G-Ro was slipping something. He was slipping his play. We were like, oh, whoa. He never did that before. We never seen that before. Wow, look at that. He was slipping in. We'd be like, whoa, that's crazy. But then come playoff time, it'd be like, oh, hey, what's going on here? What's happening? And really, like, it was a mix. In 2019, it was a mix of, like, bad play calling and bad execution, too. Because there was so many drops. Those drops led to picks. I know Lamar, he was looking like he was a little bit shook, too. Because especially with the QB sneaks and stuff, he just looked very unsure of himself. With the play calling itself, I think they ran the ball 6 times or was it 9 times total? I think it might have been 6 times with their running backs. It was just a mess. It was just a recipe for disaster. Then 2020, all right, you get to the play. Some people thinking the same thing, and then we even got told, hey, we got a new identity. We're gonna forge a new identity. We got just all this stuff, and it's like, boom, what happened? It's a lot of the same stuff. And then, of course, Lamar got knocked out of the game. He did throw a bad pick. And, man, game of inches, man. Because just the play before he threw that bad pick, that pick 6, because he was locked on, too. Was he locked on to Mark Andrews, I think? But whoever it was, he threw that pick. But the play before, just had, if he could have had a second longer, a half a second longer, if the offensive line could have blocked just a half, because the pressure got straight through, because he had Hollywood for a touchdown. Right in front of him. Had him for a touchdown. But pressure got through. Then I think he got hit or something. I forgot what happened. But it was incomplete. But, yeah, man, I would love to believe that, though, that, hey, G-Roll, Ravens offense, they saving plays for the playoffs. I would love to believe that, but I just can't. I can't. Because nothing about the offense would lead me to believe, oh, they holding it back. They keeping it back. Now, actually, sometimes, though, it seems like they playing around. Sometimes it seems like Giro just be joking. Sometimes it seems like he be trolling or something. Sometimes it seems like they look at opponents and they're like, oh, we could afford to do this. All right, look at the Broncos game. Look at the Broncos with the Prochet play. The little end around, the fake reverse, the Prochet bomb it deep. Look at that, stuff like that. Like, that was silly, man, because the offense was moving. They were actually moving. That was silly, man. Then you look at the Steelers game. They stuck to the run in that one. But then you look at the Browns game. And the run was working like crazy. And then they like, you know what? We ain't doing it no more. So it's like, what? So the fact that all that stuff is so confusing. Then we look at the Falcons game too. They were up by, I think, multiple scores. Then they start passing the ball in the fourth quarter with like 5 minutes left. What are you doing? So sometimes, like, when you think about that, like the fact that they will play around with teams. It's like they're joking sometimes. Like the Ravens are joking sometimes, almost like trolling or something like that. They're like, oh, well, we can afford to do this. And especially now that they're in the playoffs, who knows? Like for the last 2 regular season games. But it seems like Ravens may like play around with the lesser teams a little bit just to test some stuff out. So when you think about it like that, then you could think like, oh, Ravens, they hold him back intentionally. Like you said, they hold him back intentionally, and they waiting to bring out the real stuff for the playoffs. So, I mean, hey, we'll see. I can understand why you could think like that. I get it. I see it. But I just don't know.
Yeah, this feels like a dream. And you know just what I mean. You see my boy, he like gotta made it. Boy, he's a fan and he like the Ravens. And you know just what I mean. You too, team, keep it clean. You see my boy, he like gotta made it. Boy, that's my homie, ain't that right, Ingraven?
So team, keep it clean. Of course, welcome to another episode of Questions from Subs, where y'all can ask any question you want to. Again, anybody on Patreon, you can send it directly on Patreon. Everybody else, you can send an email to teamkeepitclean@gmail.com. Nowhere else. Next question came from another Team Keep It Clean patron, my guy Dominic. He said, "What's up, Ingraven? I hope everything is well. I just had a thought and wanted to get your opinion on it. The last couple of games, Andrews really hasn't been making his mark like we know he can." I love the wordplay. I love it. And he put mark in quotations like Mark Andrews making his mark. I love it. He said, I don't know if it's because Huntley is in and not Lamar, because, you know, Lamar loves Marco, because defenses are keying in on him and making everyone else beat you. There he goes. You said it. That's it. Because remember last year, Mark Andrews was still going off with Huntley and with Lamar, with everybody. He was still going off. But now there's much less, especially at the receiver position. There's much less around Mark Andrews that teams really need to respect and fear and be afraid of. So they're like, hey, Mark Andrews, we ain't gonna do nothing with him. I mean, we ain't gotta worry about him. Or all we gotta worry about is him. Because even with when Lamar was in too, Mark Andrews ain't been going off this year like that. He ain't been going off this year. He started off. Hey, he started off hot. Started off. But then what changed around him? Oh, did Bateman go down? Was that significant? It sure was. It certainly was. But anyway, he said Andrews seems to be frustrated that he hasn't been getting the ball like that. It may also be a deeper issue regarding the so-called weapons and Ravens' eyes that we have. Just wanted to get your take on it. Yeah, it's that, but also too, and there's been some missed opportunities with Mark Andrews as well. There've been some drops, so it ain't just all on the quarterbacks. It ain't all just on Lamar. It ain't all on Tyler Huntley. Now I know Tyler Huntley missed him in the last game. Mark Andrews doing all that stuff. That's what they should do with Mark Andrews, drop a pass. That's what they should do. Them quarterback, whether it's Lamar, whether it's Tyler Huntley, they should do all that stuff when Mark Andrews drop one, because they'll be yelling at him a lot. But I think it's been a big recipe for again, a recipe for disaster for Mark Andrews this year. Because again, everything around him is not better. It's rough. And then he's had his drops, and then there have been opportunities where the quarterbacks have missed him. It's just been a lot of that. But yeah, everybody's certainly had their part in Mark Andrews having a down year this year. Next question came from my guy Lord Valley. He said, hope everything is good and 100K subs for the new year. Oh, let's see. But I was crunching some numbers and this happens. In games decided by 9 or more points, we're 4-1. In games decided by 4 to 8 points, we're 2-2. In games decided by 3 points or less, we're 4-2. In games decided by 2 points, we are 3-1. But with our offensive scheme, this is scary for me, and I don't understand why heads aren't rolling with the talent we have. And all I hear in press conferences, we don't execute, we got to do better. But as humans, an ex-player, you show out for who you like. And Giro isn't liked because it shows we can't separate in points, and the core we have aren't rookies. They've been in pro systems at one point, and if you were to get in the playoffs, if you can't separate and win by 12 or more, then we will leave a team, and that's a setup for failure. So let's talk numbers. The Ravens have scored 321 points and gave up 272 points. So Ravens are at its strongest in the first quarter, allowing 33 points and pitching 10 shutouts but the worst is the fourth quarter, of course, giving up 118 points. Yeah, we know that. On the other hand, the Ravens' offensive strongest quarter is second with 101 points, and its weakest is first quarter with 66 points. So what I'm thinking is if the Ravens took the first quarter seriously and put up 10 points, it could give us a very fast start. But for some reason, we love 3-and-outs and milking the clock. Harbaugh calls it defense, but it's not. It actually hinders the team morale and the pace. That's something that I would do late in the third till mid fourth quarter, depending on the game. I think first and fourth quarter should be the fastest, and you keep a defense on its toes, especially if you're running the great third quarter, and that play action and rollout works in the fourth. Lastly, now we have Sammy Ice Cold Watkins, LOL. Why do the Ravens keep putting Pat on the field when you have Deshaun Jackson, Prochet, DeMarcus Robinson, Andy Isabella? The routes Pat runs are receiver routes, so when a linebacker or whoever is always going out there to have play, which leaves 10 to 11 ball instead of 11 on 11. I think we gave him 75%. If we gave him 75% less pass downs time and actually put Drake on a receiver, we would do a lot better personnel wise. I don't think anybody gonna disagree there. Pat Ricard, a lot of times he's out there blocking, but we do see him running his routes as well. So Pat Ricard, wide receiver 1. I keep trying to tell people that he's wide receiver 1. But don't nobody want to hear me, but it's okay. Anyway, he said, what 3 AFC teams do you want to smoke with in the playoffs? What 3? What 6? What 6? Again, I can't put no like, oh, I want to see this team, I want to see that. No. Ravens are in the playoffs, so whoever they play, I don't care. I want Ravens to play whoever they play, because if they're going to get to where we want them to go, they're going to have to play everybody anyway. I'm not into picking and choosing like, oh, I want them to play this team, I want them to play. No, I want them to play whoever they play, because they got to beat them, and then they got to beat another good team, then they will have to beat another good team, and if they're going to get there, they got to do it. So no matter who it is. And he said, I actually hope our 3 playoff opponents are Dolphins, Buffalo, and Jaguars. He said, love my brother, keep it up. Appreciate you, Valley. Next question came from my guy Robert. He said, what's good, Mr. Ingraven? In my Lamar voice, I hope he said, I hope you and the family had a good day. I recently seen a video of Shador Sanders saying he feels like a Raven when he puts on his Buffalo uniform. He remembers when his father played for the Ravens and feels like he has seen it before. Do I smell a premonition if we don't re-sign Lamar or after we franchise him next year? What do you think his stock out of college would be? Or would NFL owners try to Lamar him and make him into something other than a quarterback? Sorry so long. Thanks for letting me share. Good day. Go Ravens. I think it's just way too early. I think it is way too early. We'll see how it goes this year with him having to earn the job at Colorado. But yeah. Hey, nepotism, baby. But hey, nepotism plus talent. We'll get it done. But we'll see. We'll see how it works out for them in Colorado. But I just think it's way too early. Yeah, I did. My guy Marcus, he had sent me that clip where he said that, and I didn't even know what to think of it. Really, I didn't even know what to think. I was just like, oh, okay. I don't know. But I as far as him being a quarterback for the, I think we way too early for that. We could have had Pickens. Next question came from my guy, the real Rome. He said, Ingraven, hope you and your family doing well. Hope all is well with you. So I was watching the Pittsburgh versus Vegas game and witnessed George Pickens scoring a touchdown that sealed the game. I can't even lie. It made my chest hot, and I had to turn it off. We could have had him. Look at all the potential, man. The kid's a beast. But instead, we took an injured David Ojabo who has yet to see the field. Well, hold up there, Rome, buddy. He has seen the field. He's been on there for a couple of special team snaps and 1 snap on defense. So let me correct you right there, buddy. Anyway, he said, a total waste of a pick in my honest opinion. To make it even worse, Ojabo could just be an Oweh 2.0, which is honestly a dreadful thought to have right now. It's just infuriating to know though that the Ravens have passed on good talent due to having a caveman's philosophy. I mean, good grief, we have 20 tight ends and our wide receiver 1 is over 300 pounds. Thank you, Real Rome gets it. He gets it. Thank you for acknowledging that Pat Ricard is wide receiver 1. I keep trying to tell people, but they don't want to listen. Thank you. You get it, buddy. Anyway, he said, I really hope the Ravens front office sees that game that just happened tonight and decides to change for the better. But who knows? Maybe I'm just drunk off the purple Kool-Aid. It don't really sound like you were drinking purple Kool-Aid in this one. But, yeah, Pickens is cool. And he ain't afraid of Marlon Humphrey. Like, I'll tell you that much. So he ain't afraid of no Ravens corners. Because he was getting them last Steelers Ravens game. Thank goodness Ravens still won. But yeah, they could have had Pickens, but that's not the direction that they were headed, I guess. Rosen fan, what's up, Ingraven? This is Desmond, longtime supporter, subscriber. I was one of the loyal fans who went and froze my butt off at the Ravens' coldest game in history, and I must say it was a lot of empty seats. I'm wondering, was it due to the cold weather or no Lamar? I would definitely say a mix of both. I would say a mix of both for sure. He said, I hope this wasn't a look at the near future. There was so many boos when Giro decided to throw 3 times in a row while we were up 2 scores and had 5 minutes left in the game. Not sure if y'all could hear it on the TV. I don't know, because y'all know when I'm streaming, I got to turn the TV down because copyright is some shit. But anyway, he said, not sure if y'all can hear it on the TV, but it was so loud in the stadium. Side note, we finally had an Andy Isabella sighting, and man, did he look lost, LOL. That's not on him, though. He's just not out there enough. Also, why is Proche returning kicks? He is much slower than others, and his hands just haven't been working lately. No shade, but why not put Andy Isabella back there? I guess they just wanted to go with something safe. Like Andy Isabella, like you mentioned, like we talked about on here, like everybody knows, he just ain't been out there. He ain't been out there. With Proche, he has been out there. He has been used to being on the field and active for the Ravens a lot more than Andy Isabella has. So I guess they just wanted to go with somebody more safe than the risk. But with Andy Isabella, I feel like you do risk him possibly fumbling or whatnot, him not being ready, him just because he ain't played in a while, like because he's practiced obviously, but he ain't like played in regular season in a while. So you do run the risk, but at the same time, could be high risk, high reward. But anyway, I don't think we'll see this year. And he said, and lastly, what are we doing with Anthony Brown? That was his last call up. With Lamar's status unknown, would you sign him or take your chances with Lamar's unknown health? Thanks for your dedication to the flock. Nah, I appreciate you. That's a really good question. And we appreciate you going out there to the game. Because, yeah, a lot of people didn't. And another mix, too, I think along with it being super cold, it was very, 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 very cold, extremely cold. Lamar wasn't playing, but I think also with anybody that was celebrating like holidays and stuff, and any of those people that celebrate holidays, there's a lot of people that just wouldn't go to the game. I think with the cold weather, it probably made it easier for a lot of people to be like, I'm not gonna go there this day. I'm straight. So I think it was just a mix of all of those things. But yeah, I mean, by the time you see this video, because I'm recording this on Wednesday, December 28th at 10:03 a.m. And today, yesterday, they released Isaiah Mack from the active roster, so they have an open spot. So I was thinking that it could either go to Josh Ross, that's a candidate because he's in his 21-day window. But Anthony Brown, that's a good one too. That is a good one but if they do sign him, it would worry me a little bit for Lamar's status. But today is the first day that they should be practicing for the Steelers game. So we'll see. So yeah, that is a really good question though. And by the time you see this video, it should have been answered.
Yeah.